About that God who is invincible, surely he saw him in the morning doing his devotional etc. God has plans for your life, he will give you places of favor and authority because the servants of God manifest his kingdom, his greatness, his power. Understanding the principle of stewardship. 352. It is interesting that the Bible does not lose detail and gives us a physical description of what he was like, handsome of handsome. It is important to highlight this so it will continue. In the story, Joseph and Potiphar's wife. Paragraph Mark 7. It came to pass after these things that her master's wife looked at Joseph with longing, and said to him, Lie with me. 8. But he refused and said to his master's wife, While I am here, my master does not care about anything in the house, and he has put everything he owns into my hand. 9. There is no one greater than I in this house, and he has refused me nothing except you, for you are his wife. How then could I do this great evil and sin against God? 10. And she insisted to Joseph day after day, but he did not agree to sleep with her or be with her. 11. But it happened one day that he entered the house to do his work, and there was none of the men of the house in there. 12. Then she grabbed him by his clothes, saying, Lie down with me. But he left her clothes in her hand, and he left her, fleeing outside of her. 13. And when she saw that he had left her clothes in her hands and had fled outside her, she 14 called the men of her house and said to them, Behold, he has brought us a Hebrew, so that mock us. He came to me to lie with me, but I cried out with a loud voice. 15. And it came to pass, when he heard that I raised my voice and shouted, that he left his clothes beside me and fled outside. 16. And she left his clothes with her until her master came home. 17. Then she spoke to him with these words, saying, The Hebrew slave, whom you brought to us, came to me to mock me. 18. And when I raised my voice and shouted, he left his clothes next to me and fled outside. Something that we must all take care of is the intention of our eyes. Looking is not the same as looking with desire. Carefully. And how do we resist the temptations of life? How valuable is our integrity when no one sees us? He knows that if he does something bad he will sin and offend God. He is not thinking about Potiphar, he is thinking about God. What interests him is not to offend God who has blessed him and he has prospered in everything he does. Here is a good point to talk about grace. When we understand what Jesus has done in our lives, how he has rescued us, in our hearts there must be the intention of not offending him. 353. The treatment for temptation is to flee from it. No one is capable of handling or controlling it. There are things in our lives that harm us, therefore we must flee from them to the opposite side. Or you can try to stop drinking. You cannot try to stop from smoking by smoking. You cannot try to lose weight by eating a cheesecake factory. From the temptation to run away from one and towards the opposite side. In this life there will always be someone who wants to defame us, who wants to criticize us.